song for a movie podcast. Some are pretty good, but we'll just suck ass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch with us, we're Cinema Buns. Let's go!
Cool. And then now we're going to do a clap sync. 3, 2, 1.
Clap. Get pregnant, get pregnant.
Cool. Hello and welcome to Cinema Buns. I'm Ritter.
I'm Mike.
Would you like to know more?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yes.
We're doing Starship Troopers right now, right?
What?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay.
By the way,
Oh, you spoiled it. You just kind of didn't fall in with the bit.
how dare you, Kevin? By the way, for the audience, Mike's audio might sound a little scuffed. That is
Sorry, I'm doing outsourced traveling right now for Cinema Buns. I'm out there in the streets.
He's he's their correspondent.
He's currently in cons trying to figure out a way for us to somehow camp out until the festival starts and not have anyone notice.
Yeah, you see, I'm trying to get us into Toronto. So right now I'm in Canada trying to really get that ball rolling for us, trying to lay down some seeds.
So,
But,
I don't like the way you said that, but we'll deal with
okay,
it.
planting some hope. I don't know what you want. It's hard to get in.
You could try to say that you're trying to bug the area.
I see what you did there.
You're really a trooper.
Yep. As I'm as much of a trooper as any starship.
I mean,
I'm
you know,
a
with our
shoot
channel, we really try to shoot for the stars.
Yeah, okay. If you haven't fucking put it together, we're talking about Starship Troopers. We're
It'd
do-
be
Kevin
surprising
gave it
because I
away.
literally said it.
Yes, I know.
Would you like to know more?
Yeah, no.
So why are we doing Starship Troopers?
We are doing Starship Troopers because
Ritter wanted an excuse to rewatch Starship Troopers.
duh. And also, it is a
Part of your childhood? I don't know.
okay, so funny story. Right? So
The first glimpse of titty was the shower scenes in Starship
dude, not
Troopers.
wrong. However, we are currently at the movie's 27th anniversary.
Really?
26th. It turns 30 in 2027.
Yeah, it's a 97 movie.
Yeah. Now, I watched
Yep,
this
26, the milestone.
Yes.
The milestone that we're
So-
looking
Yeah,
at.
when did we all start watching this movie? I'm
I,
curious.
I saw it when it came out in theaters when I was 3 years old.
Wow. How
So-
do you remember that?
So my dad took me to the movie.
Your dad wanted to watch it and
And-
had no babysitter.
But what he did is he covered up my eyes during the like scary bits and stuff so I didn't get nightmares. But then when it came out on like Blu-ray or when it came out on VHS or whatever, and my mom and my grandma had it and they just put it on. And they're like,
it's just Star Wars.
Dad was lying. He didn't cover up your eyes for this. You can watch it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I watched it all, and I proceeded to have nightmares for about a month.
Nice.
What a baby.
According to them,
Weak.
this movie, definitely not through some form of childhood trauma, is burned into my brain.
Nice.
And not in a scary way. I actually unironically love this movie.
Kevin, what are your thoughts?
I saw this movie 18 hours ago.
Bro, same.
Yeah.
So wait, you guys hadn't seen it before doing this episode?
Yeah.
No, it was on my list for like the longest time, but I thought it was like the run-of-the-mill like B-roll movie
Oh, no.
that was just given really high reviews.
No. So, okay. I am so happy to talk to you guys about this now. So, let's start with you, our everyman. What were
Okay.
your thoughts on the movie?
I will say this to start with because this was my initial thought as soon as the movie ended. A movie like this cannot be made today
Why?
because it has some of the most. It has. It's so
Stop thinking about the co-ed shower.
seriously funny. It's so seriously funny. If that makes sense.
It's funny
And-
because of how serious it takes itself.
Yes, but
Okay.
it's like done on purpose. I don't know, like there's a lot of scenes in the movie where I'm like, man, that's ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's supposed to be in like the future, like that's the setting. But I was watching, I was like, they wouldn't have a co-ed shower scene like this today. I haven't seen a movie make one of those in forever.
I don't think that I've ever seen that in media, really, other than
Yeah,
like
ever.
was the Bill Murray like enlistment one where they go to boot camp?
Stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't co-ed actually. Never mind.
Yeah. No.
That was them
Yeah.
picking on women.
That the
or like the
I mean, like it was ahead
The-
of its time. It's you
Yeah.
know, this is actual
it was
gender equality.
absolutely
my joke about this movie is it's 90s titties.
But it's like
it was made during a time where like that didn't matter. They just put them on screen because it sold tickets.
but like
I don't
No,
know if that's
like,
what
it
people
had, like,
came in the door for, though.
like the boot camp scenes where like the drill instructor this isn't really spoiling anything, but like he
Dude,
was
so it's,
equally
like,
rough
a
to
billion
both-
years old.
It is an almost 30-year-old movie. We can fucking spoil it.
Yeah.
Spoiler
so
warning.
There have
I
been
guess.
4 other movies since then.
So they you know what they did that I think is really good? They made really good strong women.
Yes.
They did strong women really well in this movie.
I would agree.
And gender isn't like an issue.
It's not an issue in this movie at
Neither
all.
neither is race. It's like actual true equality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
like it's just another everyday thing for them, and I was like, God damn, okay.
yeah. I do like how it does that in the movie. Kevin, what are your thoughts?
So this was like anime as shit.
Mhm.
So it has like kind of a kind of like interesting like season long progression where
Yeah.
the first 30 minutes is the high school arc, next 30 is boot camp arc, next 30 is like the first campaign, and then the last 30 is like the career campaign up until like whatever
Up
season
until like the
finale or
season, like
whatever.
up until like you're waiting for the 5th season to come out. That's never gonna happen.
It's a wonderful, like, kind of just like on a writing and writing and like progression type of like angle. It's like really refreshing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just the amount of like time you're able to cover, while at the same time following and like caring about these characters. Because Johnny Rico comes off as just like kind of a jock with a girlfriend at the captain of the football team and whatever. But he turns
You see
into
change.
yeah, he turns into like an MC that you can kind of get behind, and you're also following
You're following
Carmen and Carl for some extent, but he's not really a character that much.
Yeah, I something that I did like about the movie is normally in a movie, the moment that the main character and the girlfriend break up, the girlfriend ceases to exist until she's needed for plot reasons.
Yeah.
But we still follow her story.
Yeah, and it's so it's not like it's campy, I guess, but this is a movie that takes itself seriously, but at the same time, you're shown what the tone of the movie is at minute 1.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Yeah.
a recruitment video format. That's like the first joke is a kid in like military uniform saying that he's ready to serve.
Yeah.
And there are bits where
then-
like kids are stomping on beetles, as like a propaganda type like video feel. But at the same time, everyone seriously feels what it is that is happening. It needs to be like taken seriously, and the
Right.
humor is, not so much that like that they're taking it so seriously, but that just like it is an exaggeration of kind of like military propaganda like post World War II.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I assumed you guys saw this, but because the basic like premise of the movie is to satirize like fascism
Right.
and like
Yeah, I noticed
colonialism
that a
and
lot.
stuff, because
Yeah.
like things that not a lot of people might pick up on, but if you've watched it enough and you have enough like media literacy with movies to kind of pick up on it, like notice the words they're saying. You are not a citizen until you have military service.
Well, you just have to
Right.
serve. It
No,
doesn't
'cause-
necessarily have to be military.
Well, it
No,
says
you're a
military.
civilian
So
until you be.
military
military.
service guarantees citizenship.
Yeah.
All other service does not guarantee it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and like you said, the propaganda videos are so good. Just the like,
Yeah.
oh,
The-
Buenos Aires has been destroyed.
yes,
The
The-
subtle and not so subtle world building, phenomenal.
I mean, like,
oh my god! I was
yeah, no, the world
enthralled in
building
this
is
world.
like great. So it's so what I kind of liked about Halo was that New Mombasa, Africa, is like the world capital, and it's it's basically a little bit kind of like an optimism thing where in the 23rd century the world has been like globalized, that
Right.
Argentina is like a first world country, and that Buenos Aires is like kind of worthy of, I don't know, being struck down by bugs.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's normally a setting, the stereotypical setting would be like New York or like LA or some the main
big-
character would come from a high school that's in you know, suburban town and
America.
whatever.
Yeah.
But he's from Buenos Aires,
South
Yeah.
America.
Argentina. Yeah. And it's like all of the nations basically have pulled together to form the Federation. And that's kind of like, I guess all sci-fi writers kind of like,
Except you, if you pay attention, you can kind of see it's not really that all nations came together. It just seems like one faction kind of took over everyone and said, "This is how it is now."
Yeah, but like over time, it just becomes a thing, and that's what I'm assuming happened.
Yeah.
Especially because when you get the scenes of like the Geneva,
Yeah.
they are all in like military uniforms.
but they
It's
also all
very-
agree and they all take their like lumps. Like as soon as
Yeah.
the defense or like the wartime minister or whatever fails in the
Failed.
invasion in Clondatu, he like ceremoniously steps down and someone else takes over. And it's a very
Yep.
seamless transition.
Yeah, but is
Yep.
it that he stepped down or that the ruling government said you're fucking out?
It doesn't matter.
Either
Like,
way.
the fact that yeah, like, it doesn't
Well,
matter
it's
either
not
way, 'cause-
established that there's like, I don't know, like a big leader of the head. It's like
Like-
all a federation.
Because you get hints like administrative punishment during like the boot
Yeah,
camp arc.
administrative punishment is
freaking
just
getting whipped.
flogging.
Yeah,
So, like, other punishments have got to be just as severe. Or
Right.
what about the propaganda scene where they're like, this murderer was found guilty.
guilty.
The execution tonight at 6 on all channels.
Yeah,
If you're watching TV, you will watch it whether you like it or not.
click
But-
for more.
click for more. I love the, like, as if you're on some info panel.
Mhm.
Well, do you know how the original book is like set up? Like what kind of
Yeah.
Is
so
this
it-
based off a book?
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it is.
it's so the book is
Okay.
Johnny Rico's memoirs.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not like it's a prose or anything. So it recontextualizes the book into, I guess you're watching a documentary of sorts, and I guess in the POV and like on the internet, like the viewer is watching
Mhm.
on the internet or something.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like that.
One thing I really like that I thought was like a little subtle thing is the first scene of the movie is through the camera of the reporter.
Yeah.
Who dies like an
And
hour
then-
later into the movie.
Yeah, and then like at the halfway point of the movie, you see that camera in the shot of
Yeah, I
like,
actually
from a
replayed the
different
beginning
point perspective,
after the movie was over.
and I was like, "That's
Where-
so cool."
Did you replay it to go, did they actually get all the angles that...
No,
Like,
because
it
like I
showed?
wanted to, because like I understood that when we did the in media, started with the in media res, and then it jumped back to 1 year prior. I just wanted to see what like the progress was,
Oh, okay.
right?
because like it kind of speeds through the high school arc, then boot camp arc, and then it contextualizes like that took a year.
Let's not
Yeah.
forget
Because like the entirety of the movie, like I think, is over the course of several years because they're all climbing up the ranks.
I would
I don't know if it's several. I think it's. I thought it's months for sure.
I would say it's at least like I would say it's at least 2 years.
I could agree with 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you get 1 year for sure from
Between
when they
high
get to the point.
school and when they first land in Klendatu.
The first landing.
Yeah. And then everything that happened after that, which we would assume happened within a couple of months to a year, just on the progression of time.
Yeah.
But something else I'm curious if you guys picked up on. So, did you guys pick up on the fact that the bugs actually were not the aggressors at any point during the humans versus bugs like war?
Other
Yeah,
than just
so-
like a straight asteroid going faster
Yeah,
than the
it's-
speed of light.
So just so you know, that was not the inciting incident.
It was the Klendatu invasion, or
No. So if you
Oh.
pay attention to like some of the propaganda and stuff, the Federation had already been fighting the bugs, the arachnids.
Yeah.
Oh, they're yeah, right. They're taking over planets that the bugs have already taken over because
Yes.
they have natural
Yeah.
colonization. They just spew themselves fast and far enough that they reach other planets.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
human colonization met with them and then put them in a quarantine zone.
And they adapted.
Yeah, because like,
Yeah.
they evolve.
So
Well, they have more experience evolving than we do.
Yeah. So that's something interesting that also not a lot that most people pick up on, but not everyone, is that like the bugs aren't really bad guys.
Well, you see that also when Neil Patrick Harris has the first like mental contact with.
They're
Yeah.
it's afraid. Yeah, no
Yeah!
Yeah, everyone shooting their guns in the air. Yeah! Fucking scary. Let's shove a
I like
probe in
the,
its butthole.
Censored. Yeah.
No, I like the subtle human evolutions that have happened though.
Oh yeah, the like ESP like federal testing.
Like everyone's slightly stronger.
Everyone's slightly psychic,
You-
except if you're dumb,
Yeah.
which makes Johnny Rico
Yeah.
stand out. So,
Yeah.
have you watched the other 4 movies?
Oh god, sadly. They're all terrible.
Really?
After
Even Invasion and Trader from Mars, the animated ones.
okay.
Because like people
So-
say that the animated ones are the true sequels, and then the 2008 and 2012 ones, which actually no, the 2004 and then 2008 aren't real sequels
I would agree.
because
actually.
like Carmen doesn't exist and Carl is gone.
No, it's even worse than that. Okay. So the animated movies, you are right actually now that you remind me.
Because so from what I've heard,
they're more faithful to the book than the live action ones are.
so Mike, are you aware that like humans are supposed to have power armor?
That's what that's what their armor is, right?
No.
No, it's just like cheap whatevers. But like, and they're also fighting they're fighting them with like machine guns, and it takes like 5 of them to shoot at a 3-foot range to kill one bug.
Yeah.
The humans are like originally are like much stronger than that because they're using power armor. They're doing sick flips, jumping over buildings,
Yeah.
and lobbing grenades.
Because they obviously gave hints of that
Yeah.
to like the human evolution over time.
So
They showed hints of it.
yeah.
but-
So like the it kind of like is also like interesting to find out in like researching.
Mhm.
The book came out during the Cold War, like kind of the beginnings of the Cold War, like the 50s or something.
I see where it gets its influence now.
And
But,
the
like-
book is like a very like serious critique on like fascism and
right.
like dictatorship and stuff like that. It's supposed to be pretty biting.
And like
Yeah.
on military service, but it's like since the soldiers are in like power armor, and they're doing like a bunch of just kind of like superhuman feats.
Yeah, they're space marines.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's the inspiration and the catalyst for a bunch of power armor fantasy that comes in later.
Oh yeah, no.
So-
That's something I did find out while watching this movie, and the little research I did is the amount of influence this movie had, and like its book had on like so many other things in media that are like super sci-fi.
Yeah. Also, in the book, there are other aliens that are there.
Yeah, because the bugs kind of like allied themselves with
Kind of.
other races.
From what I'm aware of, the other alien species that shows up is just kind of like nonplussed, but they're at war with humans because humans is trying to like expand into their territory too.
Yeah, so that was okay. So here's the thing, right? I thought it was kind of cool how we're the bad guys.
Are we the baddies?
Like no, like the idea that humans are the worst and scariest thing in the galaxy, but we're seeing it from like our point of view, so we don't like pick it up on it.
Yeah. And
Well,
also-
there's also
so cool.
there's also like a lot of, I don't remember if Clancy Brown said it or if Ratchak said it, but it was like humans are supposed to be the only like soul sentient beings of the galaxy.
Yeah. Because there's that propaganda video about the two people like debating, and one of them's like, "Maybe."
Which
Yeah.
still isn't out of like taste.
No.
It's still accurate to this day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
maybe
know.
there's like a leadership cast we don't know about. You know, I find the thoughts that anything that a bug as smart as a human offensive,
Yeah,
and it's
like
like,
some things never change.
yep.
yeah.
There's
Uh,
clear evidence that they're smarter than you think, but you don't want to believe it because
And even like
humans better.
But like there's a wonderful balance to it because like the chemistry teacher or
Yes.
the
biology.
the biology
Yeah.
teacher is like
No,
so it's-
he's a history teacher.
the
yeah,
ones
he's a
where
history
they,
teacher.
the class where they're doing dissections.
That's biology.
Oh, no,
Sorry,
that's
my bad.
biology.
Yeah. The teacher was asking like who's superior, and then Dizzy I think was the one that said like we are because we're smarter and we invented space travel. And then the teacher was like, well, they have 300 million years of evolution, and they were
Yeah.
able to conduct space travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And they're also like their bodies are adapted and like sturdier than ours.
Yeah, like who's really the one? Who is really better?
This conversation reminds me of and before you fucking say it, yes, I'm bringing it up, of an episode of Love, Death, and Robots where there's an episode talking, it's called The Swarm, and it's basically
yeah.
like future humans, and they find this like race of like creatures that it's like 80 different species that all
the
can
Covenant.
that they're basically seen as just animals that happen to live in a colony all together that's just self-sufficient, and humans are trying to like gather info on it so that they can make like a slave race. But then the swarm like triggers, and a super intelligent like leadership cast all of a sudden shows up, and they're like, yeah, you activated evolutionary triggers, so yeah, you see that thing that's eating up your vomit? Yeah, that was the last species that tried to harvest us, and we wiped them from the face of the universe.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
humanity's next. But it was like that.
And trigger warning for the 17,000th time we're talking about Mass Effect. It reminds me of how galactic civilization, if it ever reaches a certain evolutionary point, then the Reapers come in to harvest.
Yeah,
I thought you were about to say the bugs reminded you of the Rachni.
Sure, I guess they're the most like disappointing part of Mass Effect, where he's like, I'm gonna save the Rachni Queen and she's gonna help me in ME3.
Yeah.
No, no one comes to help. This game
yeah.
sucks.
Let's
yep.
So something with Starship Troopers is that the production design is so good.
Yeah, practical.
Yeah.
It's a good mix of practical and CGI.
That's why I said like a movie like this couldn't be made today. There's so many risks in this movie that I don't think a company like a big studio would take.
So like I think practical effects. I feel like have evolved and like have gotten better.
Yeah.
The detail of, because like some of those corpses are fucking just plastic mannequins.
Well,
But
yeah.
like some of the practical gore that I've seen nowadays, and kind of just like the schlocky dark comedy horror movies that we've seen, you know, like Psycho Goreman or Renfield, are like
Mhm.
pretty fucking good. And there are people that enjoy the practical effects craft so much that like they dedicate their life to it, just kind of like honing it, which is like why certain studios like to go to them. But for like kind of a big genre like sci-fi, it's too easy to just kind of go all in on CGI unless like
Right.
there was an actual wanton want to have that kind of like practical reverence for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually from some like passion that they like actually invest that much time in. And hold on, I am trying to find the director. The director is Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah.
Who did RoboCop, Basic Instinct, Showgirls, Total Recall. Wait, did he direct all of these?
That's
Hold on.
funny.
Hold on, I gotta double check.
Yeah, no, you have to go to IMDb and look at directed, because it's gonna show like the stuff he's written, directed, and like acted in all in just
Director, previous, Benedicta, Ellie, RoboCop deleted scenes. Okay. Hollow Man,
one. You can put anything on IMDb.
Showgirls, Basic Instinct, Total Recall, RoboCop.
Showgirls, my favorite sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did some of the big movies in the 80s and 90s.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like it's not surprising how well he did with this movie, and honestly this movie is pretty jam-packed with stars when you like
Yeah.
look at it again. So you've got Clancy Brown, famous for voicing Mr. Krabs.
Nice.
Sure.
Yeah. But you've got Patrick Muldoon, you've got Neil Patrick Harris, Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, Denise Richards. Who else? You got Seth Gill.
You have Hank
Gilman.
Schrader.
Yeah, you got Dean Norris. Hold on, there's another name that popped out. Oh, Gary Busey's kid, Jake Busey.
Oh yeah, you can tell by the teeth.
Oh yeah.
No, but wasn't it also kind of just refreshing? Because like I hate bullies, and I hate. Oh, I mean, like I hate bullies, and I also hate like bully characters, because I feel like, that high school trope is like so worn out and lame.
They're
Like 100 years old.
They
lame.
are less than one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked how it isn't like there isn't
There's character arcs.
there isn't animosity. There's rivalries, but they all get together. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you were getting like flashbacks and triggers when Rico was like just trying to send a video chat or a video call to Carmen, and everyone was just fucking with him in the background and showing their
Yes.
asses.
Yeah.
There's like a camaraderie that builds up in the boot camp as they all like form a tight knit squad, and it was like really like one of my favorite scenes was all of them getting a tattoo together after Rico like punches Xander and like cements that he's like done with Carmen, because like they all also supported him after she said like I choose career over love.
No, it is funny how
Now-
much they pulled from like the Army and the Marine Corps, because
yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but like they even called them jarheads in the movie.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
they
the
call them
MIs.
apes, one of the two.
And everyone
they swap between
and
the two.
everyone making fun of the Air Force.
Yes, literally.
They
And
do the
I think
flying,
it's so
we do
funny.
the dine.
It granted, I do think it's funny how like how you were saying, yeah, everyone supported him when like Carmen broke up, especially Dizzy,
Yeah.
who had been thirsting since high school
True.
and didn't give up.
Well,
on
I
it.
think she's like a great character and like is the deserved heroine.
yes.
Mhm.
And so, you said you've seen the 2 live action sequels.
Yeah.
How is Dizzy alive?
Do you want a real answer?
Is she just like also like reformed, just how Rico got stabbed through the leg? He was
Or is
just
she a
rescued.
robot now? She's a cyborg.
Okay. Let's let's talk about this a little bit. So,
Because I never saw the
So
other one.
because like
'cause
so
I,
I've so after I saw Starship Troopers 1, I just looked at trailers for 2, 3, Invasion, and Trader from Mars, which is the most
I
recent
didn't realize
one.
there were so many.
Yes.
There's 2 live action sequels that came like a decade after.
Okay.
Which kind of sucks because Starship Troopers 1 has like a not cliffhanger, but like a
It does have a clip.
it has an ending where it's like, oh boy, I can't wait to watch the rest of this series. You're gonna have to wait 5 fucking years.
It has such a New Hope ending.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it was longer than that. It was like 7. It was like 2004, and then 2008 was, I think, Starship Troopers.
It definitely had the Star Wars like New Hopes like
Yeah.
like
I was looking at trailers
freaking-
for them. They look cheap as fuck.
so I'll tell.
They
okay.
look like Prime Video originals that we would watch.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
like, what happened? They
so
must
so
have,
let's so we're gonna break this down a little bit for everyone. One, Dizzy never comes back. Dizzy is dead.
okay.
She's dead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
Uh,
so Starship Troopers 2.
well, Starship Troopers 2 doesn't star anyone else. Or
Uh,
it doesn't have recurring characters as far as I
you
saw.
are wrong.
Oh boy.
So hold on, who plays him? Because I know someone plays him. Where is he at? Where is he at? Where is he at? He doesn't show up. I swear he did.
Stop using Google. Use IMDb.
No, okay. So for Starship Troopers 2, we have like an Alien 3 situation where people crash on a planet infested with the bugs
Mhm.
and they're trying to like survive, and they no, it's not a fucking Alien 3, it's a Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pitch black one. So they get to this outpost and they're trying
It's very
to
small scale. Like it's just them trying to survive.
It is a
an
single set.
isolation. Yeah.
So they're not even like
There are no
connected? 'Cause I
starships.
thought
It's
follows
just
Rico.
troopers.
Yeah, so Rico, okay, the IMDb is trying to gaslight me. I'm almost positive.
Are you misremembering?
I know I'm remembering correctly.
Maybe
So-
you're thinking of 3, which is when he comes back.
Maybe. Okay, doesn't matter. No, there's no way.
Anyways,
Either way.
second one.
So in the second one, there's like an old like lone survivor war hero that's there, and like they're trying to get their way out. There are bugs that get into your brain and control you, so they're like sleeper agents.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they hinted at that already.
yeah. And then they had the brain bug, but they didn't have the like sleeper agent side of it.
Well, they're able to contact
control.
the
Yeah.
Roughnecks in order to send a distress signal. You think the brain
Yeah.
bug
Oh, that's
was
true.
able to get into the barracks
Yeah.
to do that?
Yes. I do think
That's what I said. They hinted.
No,
at
I
it
think no,
already.
because like I think it's those like little cockroach ones that
Yeah.
were
'Cause they
surrounding the
hint
brain
at it.
bug.
yeah.
Because Rico saw the corpse of it and like flipped it over.
So
Yeah.
so that is Starship Troopers 2. That's it. That's all that happens. It's literally
Just Chronicles of Riddick situation.
now. Do you want it now? Starship Troopers 3 is when shit really is like, what the fuck are we even doing anymore? Because
but in the worst way.
so
Because you can spin that in a good way.
Now this is 10 years after the first one,
yeah.
Yeah.
or 11 years after the first one.
So Casper Van Dien comes back as John Rico.
Oh, and then he reprises his role as Rico for the next like 10 years afterwards. So
Yeah.
it's a good ending.
So the whole plot of this movie is the wars keeps going on, and they're trying to save a sky marshal that's trapped on the planet, and the entire plot of the movie revolves around, hey, don't you think soldiers should be allowed to have religion? I'm not kidding. I'm not fucking kidding.
Oh, it's
So-
Dead Space.
So they reveal in this movie that religion has been outlawed in the Federation. It's not allowed.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's an interesting plot thread.
It could be.
Yeah.
Until the climax is literally people praying, and then big assault mechs that have giant crucifixes on them descend from the sky and save them from the bugs.
That's pretty base.
It's and Now listen.
That's such
if-
a Space Marine moment right there.
If
I don't
you-
know what else is.
No, I agree with you. Now, if you are a bad movie connoisseur like we are, you hear that and you go, "Holy fuck, I'm in." Put that shit on the TV. We're watching it right now.
Plug it straight into my.
It's not. It is super
Ah.
bad. It is terrible. The animated ones are more true to form to
But
the book.
also, it puts Johnny Rico into then Doomslayer characterization.
Yes.
Because
Hell
now he's
yeah.
a badass and he's got an eye patch. And he's also the Bug War. Also, as of like Trader from Mars, has been going on for 40 years,
Yeah.
and he's a general at this point.
That's so cool.
And he's putting on power armor and like doing like sick Halo reach shit
And he's
Nice.
not just
with like a squad and
I'm
like
looking up this movie now. I need to watch these animated movies.
yeah. So I remember Invasion from Mars because like we hosted like a special event for it at my job, and it was like a premiere for it, and I was like, Starship Troopers still exist?
Yeah, no. So, Johnny Rico is not just a
Yeah, and I remember Dizzy and because like I think Denise Richards still
voice.
Oh my
like-
god, my brain! I've seen this.
I
Not
know
the
you
movie,
have.
but I've seen this trailer.
So, because Johnny Rico isn't just a general. He is basically like a god.
Yeah.
He's the war hero. He is the propaganda man that everyone fucking knows, and is like, and when people are, because in the movie they're like, it's John Rico, and they're like, no, it's not. Stop fucking lying.
it's Rico's Roughnecks.
And then
He is the he is the Master Chief of this world.
yes,
Yeah.
Holy crap! I love the influence this series has inspired.
Yes.
Yeah, that movie's from 2017.
now,
But the books was what I'm like in that movie. And
yeah. But when we
leads to a
were
bunch of other
when
stuff.
we were talking and like back to production design, I also just love the design of the fucking bugs. They're so
Yeah, they're
cool.
really good.
Yeah, they're staple removers with legs.
Yes. That's
it is. I like the tactics used with what they had.
I like the different types of bugs. I like their different like roles and whatnot.
I like that they had
The
giant
oversized
space
weapons.
cannons in the form of just
Yeah.
a really big bug that can shoot plasma out of its ass.
Yeah.
I like
can-
the mini nukes.
Yes.
Like the human weapons were actually interesting.
Because
Um,
when you first hear it and they like nuke it, Rico, and you're like, oh, they're probably gonna fire. Is that a warhead? As they actually fire a fucking Fallout style mini nuke into this
And they
hole.
use them often.
Yeah.
They
It-
use them often.
What should we do for this nuke? What we don't really need to nuke.
Nuke.
We're gonna nuke them like 5 times
There-
in that
there's
cave.
there's a bug hole. Nuke it.
Yeah. No, I love that there's this style of government that's just like, why wouldn't we fucking use nukes? It's now
Yeah.
handheld, and it comes in all shades and colors for your children. I also love the fucking mini propaganda video of like, are you helping? And it's the kids like doing a cockroach stomping party.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
mom's just like, yeah, kill
And the
him.
mother's like just nodding and smiling really big.
Just
in the
laughing like
background.
hysterically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but no, the bugs are just like grab outside of the like arachnid soldier, everything else is just pick a bug from the world, it's now big.
Yeah.
Because there's a giant tick.
Yeah.
There's just a giant
The
like,
plasma
fly.
bugs, fire bugs.
Yeah.
The fire the thing that shot fucking fire, dung beetle.
It's also like
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah,
stink
dung
bug,
beetle, acid.
depending.
there's
Yeah.
also
it's
like a
like
lot of
acid or something.
intuition in their designs because it's pretty easy to see how they work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could just see that it's spewing. It has like a spark plug at the end of its horn, and then it just spews some sort of flammable oil, and then that can turn into a flamethrower. You can see that it's like building some sort of like heat energy and like superheats it to plasma, and then it has escape velocity
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
shoot into space.
No, so yeah,
And
and
then
like
the bugs just poke really hard.
You got the big brain bugs that can like actually do the tactics for the bugs.
and it just looks like a
hive
fucking maggot.
mind.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like a giant tick. Yeah.
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 Um, but and with the production design again, like it's a federation that like it controls everything, so everything is super utilitarian.
Yes. Like the infantry is just numbers.
Yeah.
They're just like they just treat them like numbers, and the infantry's all about it.
Yeah.
Like they're all like super indoctrinated. They're like, yes, send us, and if you can find someone to replace me after, that's better. Do it.
And I wanted to ask you, Mike, how did that, like, given your military record, how did this feel to you?
I was laughing so much anytime I saw the troopers. It made
You miss home.
No, they took such it was done
Mike started
sarcastically.
chewing on crayons out of nostalgia.
Yeah. Like it was done sarcastically, but in like the right way.
Yeah, because there is like a sense of camaraderie and a sense of responsibility, and like I think the author is a corporal, but he's like a military background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it like all comes from experience.
The way they acted is exactly how Marines would act, like almost to a T.
Disregarding rank.
It's so funny. like everyone jokes around with the same ranks, but then you got like that corporal or that sergeant.
A general jumps out of a locker. Everyone's like, "Officer on deck."
Yep. Or like just the camaraderie, or like
general shitting his pants.
Yeah.
By the way, I fucking love that scene. Because he just comes out and he's acting crazy. He's like, ah, ah, and everyone's like, oh, officer on deck. Just straight up immediately.
Yep.
Well, yeah, he's a general. Like,
well, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just...
But it doesn't take long for the lieutenant to like be like, okay, he's not fit for command. I'm gonna punch him in the face.
No, I love the next segment where he was ready to fucking put a slug in his head. Immediately, he's just like, I'm done with you. And Rico's like, no. Let's calm down.
Yeah, no, it was like even the scenes where like they brought in the beer and then the
here's the beer, here's the entertainment, and it's just footballs and violins.
Yeah, I like how they somehow shipped like intact violin to a war zone.
Yeah. The respect they had amongst each other was really well done. Like the subtleties of like, yes, there's both men and women here, but they just see each other the same.
Yeah, and like that's what I was saying.
But they
like,
recognize that they're also men and women, so they'll like dance with each other and stuff like that.
I did make
because they could die at any moment, and they know this. But they also need each other.
I did make the joke of like, co-ed showers, true unity. Of course, there would be no issues with this if it was implemented. Of course not.
Yeah.
But everyone's because that scene is funny just because no one cares.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I like that Ace was like, I guess, a bully for about 5 minutes. Yeah. And then he became like one of Rico's closest friends.
Yeah, once he saw like Rico, because Ace didn't like Rico because he thought he was just some rich kid.
Yeah.
And then once he actually saw Rico cared,
which in this world, rich kid just means your house is made of glass, which I think is also a very, very subtle metaphor too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! That reminds me of another like.
They're also. I also want to say how mature that they are, because like once the upper ranks, once the rungs on the ladder just start getting dead, and Rico now has room to climb up because of necessity. Yeah. Even like Rico was like, I need a squad leader, and then Ace is like mature enough. Is like, nah, I tried it, wasn't for me. And then he was like Dizzy, and then she's like, I'm your girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Because it like this is really dumb, but like going back to the co-ed showers, like to us, like that's funny. and like how straight edge it is, but like for world building purposes, that's so cool.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like the fact that they like just that's how it is because women are strong. Like just also just like they're playing football with the dudes and stuff now. But that's just because like evolution. I don't know like how it's affected like humanity yet.
That you can
But
do a
it's
flip.
subtlety.
yeah.
Yeah, she can do like flips in the air. She can like take down like dudes like roughly like the same size as her, maybe slightly bigger.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter the gender. There's enough representation on both sides, on like for men and women. There are strong men. There are also weak men. There are strong women. There are some weak women. But no matter what, everyone was on the same playing field.
And then, they, when she wanted to fight the sergeant at the boot camp, she got her butt handed to her.
Oh yeah.
Like she got one lick in, and then he just laid in, and I was like, oh my god.
By the
so
way,
cool.
I don't know if you guys noticed in the fucking lunchroom area,
She has a scar on her
she
neck.
has a huge
Yeah.
bruise on her fucking neck from it.
Yeah.
And I just remembered another like world building thing to how fucked the government is in this movie, because the one blonde girl, because they're asking everyone, hey, why'd you enlist? The one guy's like, I wanted to go to Harvard. My dad says
I want to
it's
get
expensive."
pregnant.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, I
like,
wanna
I
get
want
pregnant."
kids. And if I do military service, I'll get a license to have a kid.
Yeah. I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah, that
What the fuck does that mean?
yeah, that really opens it up. Like, what? But the
You got a license for that?
the story is just so. Its pacing is fast paced but organic, and the story is super succinct.
Mm-hmm.
You're just given beat, okay, some build up, beat, build up, beat, build up, beat, but it never gets boring.
Yeah, it's entertaining all the way through. You get to see like the arcs are pretty easy to watch happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
and like
Which I think
actually
is-
about like an hour in, I was like, this is enough for a movie.
Yeah,
And then it
I was
just-
like, I'm only halfway
And then
through right
we
now.
and then we saw the sequel like on the second hour.
Yeah.
It's such a so that this movie gets a lot of like talk about being like a B movie, and like depending on who you talk to, some people are like, oh, it's super silly, but it is what it is. But when you actually like analyze it and look at it, it's a fantastically done movie. The writing is smart. It's fast. It goes through. The pacing is well done for the story. There are actual character arcs for a lot of characters in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you were to give this to any other director or writer, it would turn into a schlocky piece of shit.
Well, it would possibly be a little bit more in line with the tone of the book, because like
Yes.
they have something to go off of. But Verhoeven has because he's like also a caliber of an artist of that caliber, he has his own like vision, but he like has an interpretation of what like the book is. So he has his version while still maintaining like kind of the themes and beats of it.
And I think I'm actually glad they got him, because looking at his filmography, honestly, most of his movies are done as critiques of the government. If you think about it, the critiques of like
Yeah,
those
RoboCop is an easy one to. take a look
RoboCop
at.
is Total Recall is
Yep, is another one.
another one. Basic Instinct also talks about those in control and stuff. So like a lot of his movies have this similar theme and track record of like criticizing those in power and criticizing those that like just exert their control over others, and like how that would influence situations and like what it means to like fight against it. Now, Starship Troopers, they're not fighting against the control, but it's just presenting it in a different format.
Yeah.
So
When you have a federation that has like that is uncontrolled and is just has like unlimited power and like the ability to do whatever it wants, then it's just able to turn humans into resources.
yeah,
To and like completely just control them.
The thing I really like about this movie as well is like there's a facade of choice.
Everyone
Right.
raises their hand and says the terms of service as the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
Which I loved.
Um,
You're doing this out of your own free will? Yep.
like for instance, his parents were civilians. They weren't actually like citizens. Yeah, but they were still like pretty well off, which was interesting. Which means
You don't
which
really
means
know
wealth
about what the
still
parents do.
means something in this world.
But it makes you wonder, like, what is the dichotomy between civilians and citizens?
Well, you'll
Right.
also see in like just kind of all of the character introductions in the shower.
Yeah, they
One of
tell
them
you.
wanted to go to Harvard, but isn't going to have
Couldn't
enough
afford
money, so the Federation is going to pay for it. And then one of them, like just didn't want to be a farm boy, because like there's no money in it. So
Because farms suck. But
Another person wanted to run for government, but
yeah,
well, that's
yeah.
that's natural. I mean, like a lot of people go from military service to government. So
yeah, but it's not mandatory.
well, I mean, like it's not mandatory to go to service to go to college either.
no. What I think he's saying is, I think in
Right.
this world building, you have to have military
to.
service to
Yeah.
become to go into government. Because
To
I
be a
bet you,
politician, you have to have military service.
because I bet you have to be a citizen.
Well, I think it's because
Yes.
they're also in like kind of a very military forward civilization at the moment.
I mean, also, even just to vote in general, you have to be a citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
A
mean,
civilian can't vote.
I also I do want to talk about the like
At least from what they were saying.
The conversation at the beginning of the movie. It's
Yeah.
like, what's it mean to be a citizen?
yeah
yeah,
It's about like assuming responsibility of the greater good or something.
yeah.
yeah.
So and then I also like the fucking test score screen where
Yeah.
you just add a couple of buttons. Hey everyone, look at his shitty test score. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do math. And then like they literally had military recruitment just on the campus.
Yep.
Which is still true today.
Yeah, which
Yep.
yeah, that's
Which like I brought up
so
like in a
weird.
previous episode, I was like, why is ROTC and JROTC a thing?
Yeah. Let's not forget the Marines, the Army, and everyone visiting your school during lunchtime and
True
going,
that.
"Oh, it's fun. Hey,
Hey,
check
wants
us
to go
out.
do push-ups.
Do you want a Hummer? Do you... We have a partnership with Mustang."
Nice.
But man, this movie is better than it does get a lot of credit for being good, but I don't think it gets enough credit. And I'm glad I'm actually really happy this was your guys' first time watching it, because I haven't talked to a lot of people who haven't seen it before. So
What, like everyone's watching Starship Troopers?
no, it's just that at some point someone has watched it.
But they saw it like without the wherewithal to like kind of understand it and digest it
Exactly.
properly.
Mm,
But
yeah.
But it's such
Yeah.
a kind of also like kind of like a sad story. It's a very prolific sci-fi series that could have been.
Yeah, it could have been so good.
Because,
but
like-
from what you guys are making it sound like, I don't want to watch it.
Because like if you saw this in '97 and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see where this goes, and then years go by and nothing happens.
yep.
After they just promise, after you get these 3 high school friends come back together, they're talking about what's next for the American, for the Earth Empire, what new technology we're gonna have, the new leg up in intelligence and an understanding of the bug menace, and then nothing.
Yep.
Neil Patrick Harris goes on to do How I Met Your
Your
Mother,
Mother.
or something.
Yeah.
He plays Doogie Howser.
What did Casper Van Dien end up doing?
Just more Starship Troopers. He's the only. He's the
he-
only one reprising his role.
He was in Alita Battle Angel. He was in Sleepy Hollow. He was in a 1998 Tarzan movie. He's
Nice.
also, oh my god, he's been in, oh my god. He just does like character roles.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't think he's had like a leading man like thing in a hot minute.
I mean, I'm not saying that like, Casper did a great job acting
What?
as Rico.
I think he did.
But he did the job.
Yeah, he did the job.
Yeah.
You know what this is, right? Don't you, Bug?
He definitely had the jawline to play Rico.
You guys want to live
Yes.
forever?
I do like how how he just kind of inherited the.
Oh, fucking Michael Ironside was Ratchak. I forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like how Rico just kind of inherited the like personality quirks and
Of
like,
his masters,
sayings
of his
like
senseis. Yeah.
of
Yep.
every leadership who happened to die to give him a promotion.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Um,
it's also carrying on their like legacy. I like the camaraderie and the respect that they were when they first got into the Roughnecks. Like
Yeah.
they were talking
Yeah.
about. I heard that the new guy is, or the lieutenant here is a real nutbuster, and then they fucking deck Ace and knock him to the
Yeah.
ground.
Don't you ever talk about him like that.
I'm alive because of him, and then they find out it's Michael Ironside, and then they're like, "Oh." Clancy Brown downgrading to private just to get back into combat,
That's so base.
That is such a
and he's the
character-
hero.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
off screen, he's the hero because he's the one that captured the brain bug tick. God, that's so weird. It's funny.
It's
Yeah.
such a characterization for that character
Yeah.
where he's like, yeah, I was a drill sergeant. I purposely demoted myself so I could get back into combat.
Rico, is this your signature? Yep. Doesn't look like to me.
Like it to me, and then tears it up.
No, but like there's a sense of like I kind of like the sense of like consent in this world because like yeah, they did constantly like ask them like, you have to sign your 1040, you have to go down this hallway and then you're out.
Yeah.
And then there's no like trouble at all. Like you can freely do that.
Yeah.
You have the
Yes.
freedom to join up to join like the military. And
You
then
have
you
the
have
freedom
to-
up until you're actually in, which I think is really cool.
Well, I mean, like you can still also leave boot camp, and it
That's
isn't
the thing.
until you're deployed.
That boot camp you're not in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, well, also you're in space. You can't get back to Earth. So, like,
what I'm
logistically
saying is,
speaking,
like,
you also can't
you,
leave.
You can't be at the camp drinking beer and go, yeah, I think I'm done.
I no longer consent. I no
Yeah.
longer consent to be a soldier. I want to go home.
That's really cool. And then yeah, them just tearing up the note.
Mm-hmm.
I still love the all right. We can't lose another soldier. We already lost 2. It's not worth it. All right. Administrative punishment. And then as a first-time viewer, you're like, "Oh, okay, he's probably going to have to do some like clean the latrines or some bullshit."
I expected the highest order since people are dead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
flogging was fine to me, or it made sense to me.
No,
It makes
it
sense in the
makes
movie.
sense, but it's just
The
that
fact
initial
they called it administrative.
yeah, it's just the initial like anticipation of administrative punishment. It's like, oh, okay, what's this? And then it's just public flogging. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, we in that world. Let's go.
I liked the subtleties of also like the general asking or colonel asking the sergeant, like saying like, is this guy worth keeping in, basically,
yeah.
and giving him the final say of like do you think we could still use him?
And him
and then
going,
giving-
yes.
Yeah.
I also like the
I can save him.
and again, that back to that camaraderie, just like right before the flogging starts, you see Clancy Brown go like, bite down on this. And Rico's like, and he's like, no, trust me, like bite down on
Yeah.
this.
I know what it's like. Also there's a very human aspect to the sense where he recognizes that this was just an unfortunate accident.
Yeah. It's an unfortunate accident that shouldn't have happened anyway,
Right.
ignoring the fact that he allowed someone to take off their helmet.
Right.
So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We killed Farm Boy.
Yeah.
um,
It's that's actually the first death you see, if I remember correctly.
Also, you know what's else kind of
Yeah,
like
it's like the
interesting?
first like brutal death you see.
It takes a while. Yeah, it takes a while for the biggest piece of violence. Actually, ignoring the intro where someone gets stabbed and
Yeah.
like cut in half.
Yeah, but it's
it
like
takes a long
shaky
ass
cam.
time till you get your first swear word.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Or-
rated R movie, and like they'd said fuck at 90 minutes in.
Or what about when the drill instructor fucking broke Farm Boy's forearm?
Yeah.
Like-
No, yeah, that was awesome.
He's like, "You all right?" Yeah, but my arms hurt. Medic. Or when he throws the fucking knife through Jake Busey's hand, and he's like,
Yeah,
"Medic."
Ace's hand.
Oh fuck.
Button can't be pushed for hands
Yeah.
stabbed.
Yeah.
Can't.
I also love that training sequence where like the fucking laser tag, but it just actively electrocutes you as soon as you're hit.
I think it's those are actual like whatever energy rounds.
No, so
I don't know if you guys recognized how integral that boot camp was. So the thing about that I found really interesting is how they were trained. If you notice, which is why they weren't, which is one of the biggest reasons why they failed in First Contact, is they were training to fight other humans.
yes.
Which
And-
is fine if you're planning on fighting other humans.
Mhm.
Historically, you want to practice fighting whatever you're fighting.
They also trained them to group up into teams of 4 and fire at
Yeah.
something within 3 feet in front of them.
Which is right
Right.
after Neil Patrick Harris is like aim for the nervous system, and then they'll completely shut
Yeah.
down.
Meanwhile, they're peppering every other part
The other
except
P-
for
yeah.
center mass.
Yeah, so like I thought that was, I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but that to me stood out a lot because I was like, huh, they're supposed to be training to fight bugs. Why are they using human targets? And why are they like? I get why you would practice with knives, but at the same time, like you're really not setting these guys up for success by training like the way you guys are training
Well,
them right now.
Because the other thing,
But it also plays into the other role where they don't think these bugs are any real threat.
because the bug war hadn't actually started yet.
Yeah,
The bugs were just dumb bugs that were in a quarantine zone, and that everyone is just like, oh, they're there. They fucking forget about them.
yeah. So like I'm saying is like I don't know if that like how on purpose they made that work. If they did it on purpose, or it was just by a happy happenstance where it's like, yeah, they were trained to be badasses, but they were trained to be badasses against the wrong enemy.
Yeah. But
There was also
and it's
like
not until they get into the field they get actual experience and they learn how to actually fight these bugs.
if I remember correctly, like they're super inexperienced and they have like zero strategy when
Yeah.
they are fighting bugs on the ground in the movie. But I think that they actually had like improved weapons, the armor, and like tactics in the book, which
Yes.
is what Invasion and Trader from Mars did. Like
Yeah.
how
like they
incorporated-
figured out how to fight their enemy properly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then in those cases, then the aliens are actually like bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
no.
like for this movie independently, I thought that was really good subtlety in my opinion. If it was meant to be subtle or not, I don't know. It's just something I picked up. I don't know if you guys did or not.
No, I would agree. Honestly.
Because historically, like, at least for American boot camps, especially the Marine Corps, we practice how we're gonna fight a particular enemy. So our boot camp changes depending on what our current enemy is.
Because the military also has like,
It's like clearing buildings.
well, it's
A
not
lot of it is
well,
just
it's not
clearing
just
buildings.
that, but I know like there are different like training grounds like throughout different military bases, and like you can be sent to one for jungle training, and it's just in the jungle.
Yeah.
Almighty
So
jungle. Lion sleeps
For
tonight.
for instance, I think it was, yeah. So before, like, Iraq and stuff, we weren't training to fight terrorists. We were training to fight an enemy we can see, has uniforms and all that whatnot. So after, everything that happened with that, our boot camp changed to us practicing like buildings, like clearing buildings,
Urban
and
combat.
understanding that like our enemies aren't going to wear uniforms, and figuring out what are the best formations for ambushes and stuff, and what team size works for these smaller.
Becoming more guerrilla.
Yeah. Whereas previously you would, we'd be fighting bigger armies, so we'd have different. So we were training like that for this one. So it was just kind of cool to see that, and then I was able to kind of like connect the two in my own life like that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
But man, any recommendations?
Oh, the custom tattoo maker was kind of funny.
The fucking like,
It's
hey,
just a
put
robot.
this on my skin, and it just laser engraves it into your arm.
The Windows Paint freaking
Yeah.
customized.
We got these shapes. Organize them however you want.
You want?
Oh, are we gonna get Death from Above sticker tattoos now?
Yeah, yeah, and you have to pour beer on it as soon as it's finished.
Yeah.
No, for all listeners, if you haven't seen it, highly recommend Starship Troopers.
Watch it with your family.
Yeah,
First one for sure.
watch it with your young 3-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Make sure you scar them.
Then watch the OVAs, the animes.
Yes. But what about you guys? Any other final thoughts on Starship Troopers?
You guys made me interested in the animated ones, not the live action ones, but at least the animated ones I'm interested in now.
Yeah.
See how those go.
What about you, Kevin?
It's a good movie.
All
Mhm.
right. Well, with that, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. You can find us at Twitter at Buns Cinema.
But if you'd like to know more,
If you would like to know more,
No more.
and if you would like to do your part for the war effort, please
against big podcasts,
against Joe Rogan.
Support us little ones.
You can find us at patreon.com/cinemabuns, where you get special Discord access and access to episodes a little early. You can also find us on Blue Sky and find us on any podcast platform of your choice. We also have a YouTube at Cinema Buns Podcast, where we might be doing some stuff. But with that, I'm Ritter.
I'm Mike.
And I'm fighting for the war effort.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Some are pretty good, but we'll just suck ass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch with us, we're Cinema Buns.